Welcome to She's a Full-On Monet, a digital lifestyle magazine for women. Every week, our editor-in-chief, Kelly Castillo, along with Megan Block and special guests, participate in a deep dive discussion about recent articles and topics we have covered. We invite you to become part of our community where everyone's welcome. You can totally sit with us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to She's a Full-On Monet. I'm your host, Kelly, and I have with me, as always, Megan.
Hello.
And today we are going to talk about a subject that I think is really interesting. I personally don't have individually personal experience with this, but I definitely have family members who have been through this. And I think it's such a feeling of violation that it's really important to talk about. So today we're going to talk about the biggest scams that are going on right now, particularly like internet or phone scams. I feel like that's really become a big issue. Maybe it always was. And it's just, in the last 5 or 6 years kind of come on my radar, but it's definitely a serious issue.
And you've never personally been a victim?
No, I mean, I've gotten a million calls and emails and stuff, but I'm usually very good at knowing immediately that maybe I just have spidey sense about people taking advantage. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I only have one personal one, and it wasn't like, maybe it was one of the norms, but it was when I was looking for a job and somebody overseas was moving over here and needed a nanny. It was like one of those Craigslist, respond to a Craigslist. And they were going to put my deposit for my first month or whatever for my pay. But they needed me to go open up a Wells Fargo account. It was I'm normally, and I'm the same way. I feel like I'm never going to be one of those people that supports 6 brides from another country. You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm good at it. But then I found out later that it was a total scam. I don't really know. I think maybe once they got the bank information, things could have gotten weird. I was just really disappointed that I no longer had a job. I was like, well, shoot, so you're telling me that this person's not going to pay me to work for them either? Okay. It sounded really great. It was really well, good paid money, and then extra perks on it. Right before I met you, I think, actually. And so that's my only personal story. But other than that, I mean, I've heard of them. My family members, maybe my brother at some point, but I just hear of them from the world.
Yeah. I mean, you hear it on the evening news all the time, but when my grandmother started to get sick with dementia and I took over her finances, I went back through the last, year and a half before we had realized how sick she was. And I saw that her bank account had been drained twice. And she had been told by someone on the phone that she had won a big sweepstakes and she just needed to pay the taxes on it. And that, it was going to set up her family for life. And she was so excited. So she wired or transferred the money, gave them her bank details. I don't know exactly what happened, but they wiped out, a 90-year-old woman's bank account twice. And the kind of people who feed on seniors like that and seniors with, cognitive impairment is the lowest form of life.
That's why a big portion of these exists, because they're successful, because they feed on people just like you talked about, that it's not only are they unaware of what's going on, but they can't even trace it quick enough to fix it,
Yeah. There was nothing we could do at that point. It had been a month since it happened and the bank couldn't trace it. And but when you call, first of all, if you're calling landlines, pretty much you're going to get older people. No one else has landlines, right?
That's very true. It's very true.
Yeah. And then when she answered the phone at 90 years old, you can tell she's 90 years old.
Yeah, there's no moral compass happening here.
No,
with these people.
So upsetting. And now my husband is, quite a bit older than me. He's in his, I would say, late 60s now. And just in the last 2 years, just about and I'm not going to say that it's tied to it, but it's certainly a coincidence.
Come on.
Ever since he enrolled in Medicare at 65, the number of scams he gets on a daily basis, it's insane.
That's shocking and terrible. And
I go through, he'll say, come look at this email. What do I need to do? And it looks like it's an official letter saying he owes money, or it says it's from Yahoo and he needs to reset his password. And then when I look at the from address, it's a bunch of letters at, some other Google or whatever. And I'm like, this isn't from Yahoo. And he's like, how did you know? How would you? I was like, because you look at but he's not computer savvy at all. So, or he'll get calls saying his social security number has been compromised and he needs to stay on the line and speak to someone and get a new social security number. I'm like, they don't do that. First of all, if social security number has been compromised, they ain't going to call you. They don't give a crap.
I'm going to be real honest with you. This is not an age thing. If somebody called me with that exact same scenario and I didn't have Dan here to catch me when I was falling, I would have stayed on the line and gotten myself a new social security number because I don't know any better. I'm terrible at this. It's not an age thing, but it certainly does heighten the chances of it because like they're not aware sometimes that all of this is even possible.
Yeah. Like he didn't know that you could click on the from where it says from Yahoo Security Department. When you click on it, you can see the actual email address. And if it's a string of letters and numbers and it's not even a Yahoo email address, it's certainly not a true email.
That's a little fishy. I'm just saying, like, if you don't know that there's even like a scam like that out there to even be aware of, then how are those senses supposed to be up for older people? Like they might not even know that this is a thing.
Right. And less tech savvy people for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. He'll get emails saying, you have received an incoming wire for this much money, but you need to call us and confirm your wire instructions. And I look at the from, and it's not even from his bank. I'm like, no. So I have to vet that quite a bit. And his voice,
he makes a good income. So like, I mean, things like that could happen. If somebody tried to offer me money, like I'd laugh so hard. I'd be like, dude, this couldn't be realistic. Like
no one's wiring you money, big sums of money.
Exactly. And if it happened, like I know it happened. Like I won it on a big wheel at The Price is Right. If you know what I'm saying. Like there's no way this is an obvious mistake for me, but for other people that make good money or that work with other,
we have a lot of, we have a lot of complicated investments. So wires come in and out of the account.
Could be possible
all the time. Yeah.
He's got to double check that with you because like, it's totally a possible scenario. For me, it's laughable. To me, it's an obvious like red flag. No one's sending me anything.
Or he clicks and purchases things through Facebook ads. He's starting to understand that he can't do that because we have had to replace the credit card multiple times because
they look interesting and he wants to buy them, or on accident he's hitting them.
No. It's an ad that comes up on his feed for something like I don't know, some cool wallet or some kind of something that he thinks, a gadget or something. He thinks, that's really cool, and he buys it, and he's buying it from some crazy website, shady website across the world. And they take his credit card information. And so I started with saying, you don't buy anything online unless you're paying through PayPal, because then you have a little bit of security. PayPal does protect your purchase.
What about Amazon? Does Amazon protect your purchase?
If you use the Amazon Pay, it does. Yes. Amazon is a third party place. So they hold on to your credit card details. They don't give it to the supplier.
Okay. I literally just bought a jacket from like China like a week ago, and now this is off topic, but I'm like, shoot, is Amazon, should I have worried about that? Because I pay PayPal most times, but Amazon I trust like it's a family member.
Yeah, no, but I can tell usually from the website that it is not a legitimate website. And I don't put my credit card information on any website that's not like a big retailer like Amazon or Bloomingdale's or,
small shops have to deal with that all the time. Yeah, because you just don't know what that person's going to do or if they can have full access to your card information.
Exactly. So, and if I do want to buy from like a small creator, I go down usually to the bottom of the page and make sure that they are a hosted site, like a Shopify site or a Squarespace site, because those payment processing companies protect your credit card information. But if it's just some random person and you enter your credit card information on a very weird looking form, you can kiss that credit card goodbye, basically. But also my son, when he was in college, he learned a very hard and valuable lesson because he got a free iPad when he moved into this student housing. It was like a concession for the rental, and he didn't need it. So he listed it on eBay. And somebody bought it from him, and he mailed it out to them without making sure that those funds actually made it their way into his account. So the person got the iPad and rescinded their payment And so he was out the iPad and the money. And it was he'd never used eBay before. He made his account. I think there are people on eBay who look for brand new accounts with no sales yet, and they take advantage like that. So, I mean, I think he was 22, 23 at the time, maybe. He really learned a valuable lesson about trusting strangers on the internet, about like how internet
it's
sales
hard
work.
though. Like I had a same situation happen to me on Poshmark where someone said that they never received an item, and so they canceled their payment while it was being shipped out. And it says it was delivered, but by the time they had canceled it, like I didn't get any money. They could have easily gotten my shorts and canceled the order.
Mhm.
And Poshmark is a very well-known site. They did nothing to protect my product after it left. The way they work is you don't get paid until the person receives it and say they accepted the order. She canceled the order because she said it took too long for it to go out. What really happened was the post office lost my package. And so she eventually got the shorts, but she couldn't replace the order because she already canceled it. So like I was out $40 shorts and, a payment. So there's like stuff like that happens, and it makes you wonder, like, are there people out there that are, like you said, looking for people and like getting free stuff off of this? And how are you supposed to protect yourself in situations like that? How would he know that that's a possibility?
Yeah. And that really I mean, when you're selling things online, in a format where you ship it out, you don't like not OfferUp or Craigslist or something where you meet the person and exchange cash. Do that in a public place,
you
obviously.
Like ship it through the post.
Yeah. Obviously go to a public place to do that. Go to a bank parking lot or something. But if you're shipping stuff out, you really need to check the person who's buying it, make sure that they are active on the site, that they have like star reviews from other sellers. Because if someone on that site continuously cancels their order or continuously says they did not receive what was shipped, the site itself will ban them.
Yeah.
So if it's someone who
eventually will catch up to them.
Yeah. So you want to try to work with buyers who have a lot of history on that site.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best advice.
That's a good advice giver. Cause like, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just unfortunate, but for the most part, there should be some red flags. Like you said, the Yahoo thing, it was like a string of numbers and letters across that to you was a red flag. Like normally there's something going on that just maybe not to your mind, but maybe to somebody else's ears would be like, I don't want to be this person to tell you, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this might be a scam, because it takes a little bit of digging sometimes. It looks so legitimate. Like you said, the mail looks so legitimate.
We get junk mail that looks like a government paperwork, and it says, you have to pay this $10 processing fee to get you the deed to your property that you just purchased. First of all, that's always free. You don't have to pay that. And so it's $10, so you don't really question it too much, and you send off your payment, and they'll send you something that you have access to for free. That is your right as a property owner. So there's a lot of companies that maybe it's not technically illegal, but it is kind of shady to make it seem like it's coming from the property or clerk records department at the county, which it's not. And so I always, when it's junk mail and it looks really legitimate, looks like a letter in a letter envelope and it's sealed and everything, I always look at the postage. If it's not an actual physical stamp or like a Pitney Bowes stamp, printed stamp, if it says pre-sorted bulk rate postage, that is junk mail. That is always junk mail. But sometimes it's hard to tell without actually
Let's sort through our mail together, shall we? Let me tell you what this means. Like, don't waste your time. Because
I mean, I don't even open those anymore.
I'm thinking of like people's grandparents who are just getting a lot of it, and like that's like their day is to go through their mail, and they may not be like as with it, and they're getting just taken full-blown advantage of, and that's awful.
I look at the postage marks on my mail as I'm sorting it, and I don't even open any of that pre-sorted bulk mail. But we're going to talk about a couple of different scams that are going around right now and are really common. That, I mean, if you watch the news, I'm sure you've heard of some of these, but even if we inform one person about a potential scam and help them avoid it, I think we're doing a service. So That
1,000%, 1,000%. Because it may not have happened to you yet, but it may happen to you in the future, and some of this information may stick with you. I'm gonna learn stuff. I know. I'm gonna save myself some money.
Yeah, I know. The Federal Trade Commission has said that scams, they saw a huge increase in scam reports in 2020. So
are people just at home with nothing to do and getting desperate and trying to find ways to just get people's money? Like, I wonder why the spike,
Yeah, I don't know either. But well, one of the categories, the first category we're going to talk to you about actually is COVID-19 scams, because
Boom.
that
the timing is just so weird. You know what I mean? I hear 2020 and I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, if you're a con man, I think, one person's tragedy is another person's opportunity, right? So they are looking at trying to make money off of a disease that has seriously lost 5 million lives worldwide. I mean, that's pretty low, but
yeah, but let's go there with it.
Let's go there with it. So these can happen by a telemarketer phone call, which is used to be the main way. It's getting a little bit less common because people don't have landlines as much, and a lot of people have signed up for the do not call registry on their mobile phones. And now, I mean, I love my Apple iPhone because it says scam likely, and I just hit do not answer. Yeah, denied.
I have no information on this, but I feel like most of the world that I'm aware of, that I live in, has an iPhone. The people that work for these scam places must get those calls too and see it. Like, who's answering it when it says scam likely? Who's picking up and going, hello? It says it right there. I just don't see how this is still happening with technology being what it is and saying, like you just said, scam likely. I don't even bother.
What I would guess is that they probably have an automated program that just continuously signs up for new and calls, and as soon as they get put on the scam likely list, they quickly switch over to another number. Oh, wow. Yeah, that would be my guess. But these can also, now we're seeing a lot of scam posts on social media. Facebook is, I think, probably one of the worst about this because it does have an older demographic, and it also is not very well regulated. I mean, people can post sponsored posts on Facebook and Facebook ads from all over the world and pretty much say and do whatever they want. So there is becoming more regulation about this, but
if you didn't know, go crazy over there on that Facebook page.
Yeah, I've gotten spam text messages before, so I know that's a thing. And I mean, yeah. I live in a gated neighborhood, so people can't come door to door here, but I know that is something that people do. So, and what we've been seeing is people trying to sell the COVID-19 tests and the COVID-19 vaccines. That's free. That's supposed to be free. If you get a rapid test, you do pay for that. But even the tests that you can buy at the pharmacy, you can order those free from your county. I don't know if everyone knows that. So if you go to your county COVID site, you can order at-home tests for free. So if someone's going door to door selling COVID tests, first of all, that's like buying a pregnancy test at the Dollar Tree. I ain't gonna trust it.
Yeah, let's talk about potential quality of said test. Secondly, what?
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. That's so terrible.
Yeah. And then we've had a lot of COVID scam calls where they let you know that COVID tests and COVID vaccines are free through Medicare, which they are, but then they ask you for your personal information to, get this benefit for you. That Medicare is never going to call you and ask you for your social security number or any of your private information. Actually, nobody should be calling asking you for your social security number. That is a good red flag. That's always shady.
Yeah, you should never be giving out that number of all things to anyone.
Yeah. So
anyone. Yeah.
The vaccinations are free. You can order your vaccine online. If somebody tells you that you need to pay a fee for that or pay for an appointment, that is a scam. Yeah. Always talk to your doctor. Don't take any medicine that is being promoted to cure COVID or prevent COVID. I've seen these on Facebook. Don't do that. You don't know what you're taking. Obviously, there's the Trade Commission has had to issue over 30 warning letters about companies that are providing fake treatments, fake cures for COVID. 30 different companies doing this. So people are excited about getting their vaccines and getting their boosters. And I have seen some people post their vaccination cards on the social media channels. Don't do that. That has personal information on it. And you don't want to make it any easier for a scammer to get your, I am guilty of this to some extent. When my daughter got her permit, I posted her little permit. I blurted out, but I still had people commenting being like, you shouldn't post something like this. It has personal, and I blurted out. I know better than to post my child's.
Like post their card and then like take like a wiggly mark and black over the information. I just posted my cool like Band-Aid. Because I was just like, oh, but I was told by a friend of mine, don't post your card as is, it has your personal information on it. My dumb butt would have just been so psyched that I got it that I would have totally done that because it's cute and I earned it like a report card, and I would have done that and people have been like, but
I see like, you know? I see people on my feed all the time doing the same thing that I did, posting their kid holding their permit up next to their face like, yay, we sure got a permit. Just quickly, if you don't have the editing capability to blur that out, then don't post it.
Because, if you can't do it right, don't do it at all.
Well, I mean, I would protect my own personal information, but 1,000 times more, I would protect my child's personal information.
Oh, people have no moral.
Yeah, when it comes people who target children are the worst predators. So don't do that. If someone tries to sell you a vaccine certificate or an international vaccine passport, that is always a scam. That's not a thing. You don't buy those over the internet. The vaccine cards are given to you when you get your vaccine. Don't try buying them black market. It's not a good look. Don't do that. And the international vaccine certificates or whatever, those are free. If you are traveling and the country that you're traveling to requires something like that, the government sites can help you navigate that, or your travel agent can help you with that. Whoever is coordinating your trip. I know American Express Travel is doing that right now for international trips. Don't buy anything over the internet for that. And definitely verify if you are taking a trip or going somewhere, verify where you're going and what they require, because people are saying, oh, here, get this will let you go anywhere in the world right now if you have this special paper. No.
People are taking advantage of the fact that things are ever changing and evolving when it comes to travel and this pandemic, so that you may hear something and all it needs to take is somebody with a certain tone to make it sound so real for you to be duped. So that's what you're saying, is just be aware that these are going around and people are totally falling for it, because we're in a time where no one really knows what's up or down, or left or right, or what's right or wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're
trying our best here,
if you're being directed to a website to get vaccine information or digital vaccine card or international vaccine card, that site should end in .gov. It should be a government site. So like the cdc.gov or usa.gov/coronavirus. Those are the sites that you would want to go to, and not any .coms, anything else's, because that's a good indication that you're not on a reputable government website. And the scams that have been around forever, and I think will probably continue to be around. It used to be the emails from the Nigerian prince who just needed a little bit of money, and he was going to pay you back times 10 or whatever. I don't even know what that was about, but it's called an imposter scam, where someone calls you, emails you, Facebook messages you, whatever it is, and they pretend to be someone they're not, usually a government official or a law enforcement official. I've had calls on my cell phone saying there's a warrant out for my arrest. And
no way.
Yeah. And I need to call this number in the next 40 minutes or they're going to come to my home. I went to Google and I typed in the number that had called me, and it came up as scam. I fell for this.
Smart. Okay. Cause like my first indication when I hear those words are totally abide by whatever it's saying and panic. Cause I totally see, for no reason, cause I've never done anything, but I'm like, I've seen some movies where like they've taken a weird medicine and at nighttime they turn into somebody they don't remember. Like maybe like all it takes is somebody to say something so shocking and so crazy and sounds so right to just go, okay. But you Googled it and it said scam. That was smart.
Yeah, I always do that reverse lookup of the phone number, because but you know, it's normal reaction when a cop is behind me, even if I'm not breaking any laws. I
panic.
I start to like cold sweat and think,
like,
oh my
heaven
God.
forbid they're not going the same direction as me for a minute.
And I know I'm not breaking any rules, but I still think they're going to pull me over. It's like when I'm standing in line at security at the airport, I'm like, what if I accidentally have a bomb? Like,
okay,
how?
but to be fair though, your luck in life.
That's true.
Some a-hole will have walked by and put a bomb in your purse that you didn't plant because you were there because of your luck, and now you're arrested. And I would not be shocked to hear this story because of your luck. Anyone else, totally understandable, but you should always be on alert because you know, life's taught you to be that way. You have to just
that's true.
It's true, right?
That's true.
Because if there's something that could happen that's not in your favor, the chances of that going that direction are pretty high. So for you, that's understandable, but I mean, for people to be faking being police officers and saying there's warrants out for people's arrests, what's to gain from that? When you call that number, I wonder
they
what
say
from it.
They say, first, I need to verify your identity to tell you what, and then they ask you for all your personal information.
Identity theft. Got
yeah.
It. Okay. I'm like, what to gain? It's like when people take other people's like identities on social media, and then it's like, what are you gaining from that? Like, you have my Instagram handle. Way to go. Like, what now? Identity theft is weird to me. So
yeah, it is.
People
it's very
go to
weird.
all kinds of extremities to get people's information.
Yeah.
Well, next to nothing for some people to give it out.
The imposter scam that we talked about earlier is actually one of the most common. The Social Security office calls you and tells you that your Social Security number has been compromised. The Social Security Administration has reported that in 2020 they had 718,000 complaints about this exact scam, which is 50% increase from 2019. So between 2019 and 2020.
I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. I have
no
to just
problem.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm good now. That's
okay.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. So between 2019 and 2020, the Social Security Administration said there was a 50% increase in these complaints, up to almost 718,000 complaints in 1 year.
Which is too many. That's a drastic increase.
Yeah. So some of them want you to verify your information, all your personal information, including your Social Security number. Never give out your Social Security number over the phone unless you know exactly who you're talking to. The other side of that is that they would be offering you a new Social Security number for a fee. So obviously, I mean, the Social Security Administration, I think when you file for your child's Social Security number the first time, there might be a processing fee, but I don't remember that there was.
No. Right? And when would you need a new number?
That's the other thing. Your number is your number for your entire life. You do not get
so this is
new
never
number.
A scenario you should ever have
no
to
matter
be
what
presented in front of. Okay.
Right. Even if somebody steals your identity and you are an actual victim of identity theft, have police reports, all of that, you don't get a new number. You
still keep your social.
Right. They just put a notation on your credit report.
So this is that's like somebody coming and offering me the ability to fly. It's like, why would they, there's got to be enough people for the success rate to be high enough for them to repeatedly do it. I mean, right? Thinking.
Obviously, this is a numbers game, and a lot of people,
So we're here to tell you, never will you ever get a new Social Security number, ever, ever, ever.
Right. The Social Security Administration will never demand a payment from you or require payment by gift card or wire transfer or prepaid debit card. That is not a thing that the Social Security Administration.
Don't accept DoorDash gift cards is the only way to payment.
No. There is no such thing as suspending your Social Security number. That is not possible. And obviously the people who call with this scam, a lot of times the signals that it's a scam is by how they're speaking to you and their language. Social Security Administration employees are not going to threaten you or be aggressive with you. They're not going to have a tone of aggression in any way. I mean, I think most government employees really could give a crap from my experience.
To be honest, yeah.
If you think about the people who are helping you, like at the DMV or at the Social Security office, like they're helpful, but they're not super motivated to get you to do something in particular.
Man, they see people day in and day out all day long with the same general-ish kind of problems, right?
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
they're not going to go about, like they're not going to make it personal with you. They're not going to put emotion into you.
Right.
So emotion should be a red flag right there.
Yeah. And if you've gotten one of these calls or if you've been a victim of these scams, don't be embarrassed about it. I mean, obviously they wouldn't make all these calls if it didn't work. So other people are in the same boat. You should go to the ssa.gov website and report it, because I mean, they're working to catch these people. So if this has happened to you or someone that you care about, please encourage them to report it, because the more people who provide the phone numbers that they're calling from and any kind of other information that was given to them, the better chance of them catching these kind of predators. It's awful. So one of the other low forms of scams, in my opinion, is the romance scam or the catfish scam. Man, I mean, we've heard of celebrities or pseudo celebrities even falling for this. I know there was like a big controversy. One of the sister wives, I guess, had a big catfishing scam, and it's happened to a few other people that are kind of high profile. I mean, it happens to a lot of people, I'm sure. And I have so much compassion for this, because I understand that we've been so isolated for the last few years in our houses. And I can only imagine if I lived alone and was single, and I would have really, I mean, I like being alone, but that would have been too much alone time for me. I think 2 freaking years.
My dad was alone the whole time. And I mean, just talking to him, I could tell. I mean, because you're already alone within that world, but you could have the leisure to go out and do what you want. When you're really alone, it must just really suck. Even with the chaos that I have, I prefer my children over total isolation for that long period of time. So
yeah, I like true crime, and I have seen way too many Dateline episodes where it started out with one of these romance scams, some guy, whining and dining some wealthy divorced or widowed woman, and it always ends with either him taking off with all of her money or murder or something equally disgusting. So this is, I don't know what to tell you, even, because dating online is such a hard thing.
It's hard enough, man. Like, we're not here to tell you what to do, but like,
I just would say that you need to not automatically trust anyone, especially someone you meet online. There's a lot of ways to fool people. The Trade Commission has said that in 2020, these romance scams swindled people out of $304 million. So obviously this is happening to a lot of people, probably equally men and women. And this is one of the worst types of scams, because not only is it taking advantage of a lonely person who's just looking for companionship, but it's also just mean-spirited. I don't know. I think the dating websites don't have a responsibility to vet the people on the site. So even if it's not a fake profile, you could be meeting someone with a criminal history. You could be meeting someone with bad intentions, but often the profiles are fake. They're using photos that are stock photos or taken off of someone's social media. It's bad.
It's so unfortunate. I mean, it's already hard enough of a situation, and you want to trust, and you don't want to go in there, but at the same time, when you're being left and then you're also left with nothing financially, it's really like kicking someone when they're already down on like the highest degree.
Yeah. And typically how this works is someone will connect with you on a dating website or on social media. And, they're kind of like the too good to be true type partner. The relationship moves really fast, and they talk all the time about trust, about being soulmates, about being true loves, all of that. There's some reason why he or she can't meet you in person. They live overseas, or they're on a deployment, or they are, working on the road, or whatever the reason, or they're caring for a sick relative, whatever the sob story is, there's some reason why they can't meet you. And then, you get really attached and you feel like you're in basically a relationship with this person. And then suddenly they have some kind of family emergency and they need you to
I feel
help
like
them.
it's so universally, like, no matter what age you are, I'd say 13 and up, but no matter what age you are, it's so entertaining, but also interesting to watch. Like, we've all seen Catfish, right? On MTV.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many repetitive, it's a different person in a different area of the United States, but it's always a very similar scenario. It's always this impossible scenario to ever meet in person. It's always like, but if you wire me money, maybe I can fly there and see you, and they're feeding off of like how much that they've built this fake relationship, and it's terrible. And then they end up being not even the person or the gender or the age range that you thought they were.
The most common are that they've had a family emergency and they need to borrow some money from you, or they want to come see you finally, and they ask for your information in order to book the flight, your credit card information.
It's always so devastating when you find out that there was so much money given out because they thought that they were helping them out in a really bad situation, and like they knew going into that really bad situation was going to come up. But they knew they had to like develop a relationship first with the person to build trust, to build some sort of foundation. This was already pre-planned, by the way. There is no family in it right now. There's no family emergency. Devastating.
So you can go on images.google.com and double check that a reverse image search to make sure where else that image shows up on the internet. That is the first place. And then obviously never send money or personal identifying information to someone you have not met in person.
Even if it's cash, don't mail like cash to somebody. Like I've seen episodes where like, oh, I mailed $500 to their neighbor. Like, what are you doing? Like, just don't give out pieces of yourself, your money, your personal information to people that you barely know. You don't owe them that.
No, you don't.
Owes them that. It's bad.
No, absolutely not. And it's really sad because the violation of trust for these people who are already, isolated and lonely is devastating.
They could be coming off of a devastating traumatic situation. They could be learning trust again, or they could be a completely innocent person who now has developed a trust issue, and now they're one of all the rest of us out there. Let's try and keep some people out there in the world not with their on their radar. Every time I hear that, I'm like, they probably never had this scenario come up, and now they know that it's possible for people to be that cruel, and now they may go into every scenario thinking that people are that cruel. And it's like everyone thinks that way now for the most part. I'd like to keep a couple not like that, that aren't children, for goodness sakes, because we should have the right to find real true companionship or keep the money that we really worked hard for without somebody taking advantage of it, or heaven forbid have something happen to our bodies or our minds like dementia or something that isn't in our control, and have somebody not literally financially benefit off of that. Like, our world is awful. I get it. The world we live in, right? But stop it. I don't know. Stop it. Your mother taught you better than that. That's why if somebody tried to sell me a COVID test at the door, I'd be like, are you not feeling weird about trying to financially benefit off of a pandemic? Because I'm feeling, it's like, I do influencer stuff. And I was attached to a company that had a really bad situation come up where right in the beginning of the pandemic, they were selling masks on their website when there was a shortage, like even in the hospitals, even for nurses. And it was so bad for their brand. But it was like anyone who was attached to it was like, oh, you must think that that's okay. And it's like, just don't benefit from a pandemic where people are dying. Okay. Like, just on any level, like, just don't do it, because
it's not good. It's
none of this is right. But that's
not at all.
That's just an example of how none of this should feel right. But people need to survive, and they get really good money off of it. And they don't, the moral compass has left a while ago. You're one of a bunch of people they've done this to, you know?
And it's sad because if they put as much effort into and literally anything else as they put into scamming people,
right? Man.
They would probably be so successful. So, okay. So the next category is job scams, which is what you were talking about at the beginning of this episode. So 2020, 2021 was the Great Resignation, right? So a lot of people were on job sites looking for a new job. and job scammers and scammers in general, con men, really took advantage of that opportunity. So a lot of fake job ads were run during that period of time. And you know, there was no job. They just wanted your personal information or your money. So
still feeding off of desperation of people, still feeding off of a pandemic, because everybody was like looking at every sort of job, and you only had online to look at it because you can't go in person. You know?
So there's scams going around where you get an email, like maybe you have your resume up on a job site, or you have an ad up that you're looking for a job, and you get an email offering you what looks like a great job, good salary, benefits that you want. And there'll be a link in the email to like a WhatsApp or a website. And when you click on it, it says, click on this link, we'll set up an interview. Seems fine, seems legitimate. But that is what they call a phishing site. And when you open the link, it takes all of your information, all of your passwords, everything. It's like a computer virus. So, I mean, we've been told over and over again, don't open links from people you don't personally know. It's hard to remember that in the moment because we all send each other stuff all the time. I mean, I get links from contractors. I get links from, people I very marginally know.
Depending on your lifestyle, this could happen to you a lot.
Yeah. And then, I mean, a lot of times these kinds of scams where they get your email and they'll send out emails to all your contacts with a link. I get those sometimes that it doesn't even have any words. It's just like a link, or, hey, look at this. And then a link. And I'm like, no, no.
Yeah.
But when it's coming from like,
you're a steel trap. There's nothing coming for you. But if it's your sister, your dad, something like that, that's like, yeah, I'll open that, unless he's sending me a link, then sometimes I'm like, you could be a victim of something too. Maybe maybe don't open the links that like a certain generation sends you. Cause it could be a problem within a problem,
Yeah. So, the job scams, how can you avoid, right? Cause you're looking for a job, you're going to get people reaching out to you. Do your research. If the name of the company is listed in the job offer, Google them and see if they are a legitimate company and if they actually are located in the place where the job says that it is. And you should never pay to start a new job. You shouldn't have to pay for starter kits or training manuals or certifications and things like that. Background checks sometimes, but that should be done through like a third party. You shouldn't be paying them.
They should be sending you somewhere to get it and they get the results. It's not like you're giving them your information.
Right. We run background checks on all of our new hires and applicants. And it's cost us $25. We do it through our payroll company. We don't personally take any of your information. And we don't want that kind of responsibility or liability. So that's something we absorb the cost. We don't ask them to pay for that.
Okay.
And be very wary of receiving checks from employers that you haven't done work for. If they're asking you to deposit checks or return any cash to them, most likely that check will bounce and you'll be liable for, if they sent you a check in order for you to buy things from them.
You'll be liable for that purchase.
Yeah, exactly. And use reliable job sites to search for jobs. I mean, there are some really good ones out there. So don't just click on any, if you haven't even posted your resume anywhere, be suspicious if you're getting emails about jobs.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. So it seems like the minute we come up with the answers, they're going to start a new scam, but we did talk.
Okay.
We touched a little bit on phishing scams. That one used to be, I feel like it used to be more popular, but I still hear sometimes people on social media saying, hey, if you get an email from me, if you get a Facebook message, don't answer it. I've been hacked. So phishing is when a scammer will use an email or a text message trick you into giving them your personal information. So the emails might look like they're from a company. Like we talked about the Yahoo Mail emails. I get those, I see very frequently. Yeah. Or from banks or credit card. Oh, your credit card.
Boss the other day, his boss just got an email from saying he needed Dan to wire him $200 because like his card would, like, it was so, but it's from his email, but slightly different email. And like, I think people may correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just as generalizing this, but people with money have this problem. A lot of people like stealing their identity and trying to utilize it for benefits.
Yep.
And so that just must be so exhausting to have to deal with all the time. You know, this phishing and, you know, trying to use it for your advantage to make money off of it.
Yeah. So when I was doing my research, our writer actually had done a bunch of research on a site called Security Nerd, which gives you a lot of tips for things like this. And they had said that the emails that look like they're coming from a government agency or the junk mail are becoming less popular. And now you're getting emails from big companies like Costco and Home Depot and things like that, saying that you've either won something or that, you know, your company, like your store card has been compromised and they need all your information again. So one of the best ways to determine whether or not, you know, that email is what we already talked about, look at the email address that it's coming from. That to me is the easiest way.
If it says user 4550 blah 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 blah, like it's probably not that person.
No. If it's a string of random letters and numbers, if it doesn't directly indicate that it's coming from the company that it says it's coming from, if there's spelling errors in the email itself or in the email address, that's a big sign of a scam.
Come on. Yeah.
So email saying that your account is on hold, there's a billing problem, they need you to verify your billing information. Double check those, even just a quick phone call to that department.
Yeah. They'll be able to tell you right away if it was from them or not.
Right. The email has like, instead of having your name and account number, it has like a generic greeting like hi dear or hello sir or something like that. Generally not
sir or ma'am. Sometimes where they don't even gender identify you in it. It's
no. And even when a company is sending out, maybe they have had a hack and they're sending out an email to let you know that their security has been compromised. I've gotten those before. They auto populate with your name and usually your account number. It doesn't say dear madam, dear sir. That's weird. If there's a link and it says click this link to enter your payment details, you can sometimes hover your mouse over the link and it'll show you where it's going to take you. If it's not taking you to like homedepot.accounts.com or whatever, don't click on it. If it's like QTRV 872, no, don't do that.
Home Depot has the money to legitimize themselves a little bit more. So like give them that kind of credit.
Yeah. You know? I don't think Home Depot is using Home Depot spelled wrong at gmail.com.
Yeah. There's no way. There's no, like, think about it, really. You know, they're going to make it look as legit as possible so that if for some weird reason you had to enter information that was very personal, you would feel warm and cozy about it. And if there's something off, like go with that. You know?
And some general tips to avoid scams of all sorts. Have anti-spyware, anti-scam on your computer. It's not that expensive, and it does really help to weed out a lot of the weird pop-ups and the phishing and stuff like that. Protect your online accounts using third-party sites like PayPal, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, and also just by not having the same password for every single thing. Change it up a little bit, Megan.
I'm so guilty of that. Here's the thing, okay? Change it up, yes, but it's like, I don't know what. I have like 3 that roll around, but I try and keep it consistently 2 or 3, because if I get too crazy, then I won't remember that. And I'm not one to keep them stored in my phone. I don't feel like that's any more secure. So yeah, I have a lot. Don't hack me, guys, because a lot of the things that I have are consistently similar or same across the board. And maybe I need to fix that, is what you're saying?
Maybe.
Like, is it normal to have like 2 or 3 variations of passwords? Because I know if you have too many options, it's hard to remember all of them.
I'll give a tip, and this is in no way going to help anyone with my passwords, because this is something I use this system to set something up for someone else. It actually won't help you at all with mine. I did two letters, which were significant to that person, and then the name of the site that it's for, and then 4 numbers that were significant to that person. So if it was Home Depot, it would be like AB Home Depot 1234 as the password.
Got it.
So
that's very smart. That's a good way to do it, because it's not too complex, but
it would be personal to each website. So if someone did hack you,
one where you have to have like a symbol and a number and like an emoji, and it's
uppercase, lowercase, no, it's very annoying. You should when you can. And I find this super annoying, to have the two-factor authentication on your passwords. Amazon does this. So if someone else logs into my Amazon account or buys something on my Amazon account, it'll send me a one-time password. This is especially important for banking apps. Always use multi-factor authentication. I find this annoying because I don't have cell phone service in my house, where I am now. So when I get a text message, I don't know I get it. So if it says we sent you a text with your two-factor authentication, I have to go outside and get the text and then come back to and then sometimes it's like, this will work for 20 seconds. So I run out there, I'm getting the text, I run back and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that.
I'm laughing because I feel like I'm so a victim of sending you off, like needing that from you.
Yeah.
Like, they sent
"Eh."
you something, Kelly. Can you send it to me? And now I'm totally picturing you like ready out because I've also not gotten it in time or it didn't work or it says it was
And
incorrect.
then we had to do it again. Yeah.
So you're doing this is basically what you're saying. You're getting your, I'm sorry. That's awful. Well, when you get back to your new place, you'll be living it up. Not having to do it all.
I'll be having I have service party and I'll just be using my phone all through, calling everyone on my contact list being like, I can hear you. Hey, I have service. It's
you
so
had no power yesterday, right?
I had no power the whole day.
I had no power on the day before that. And I'll have no power tomorrow from 2 to 8. I'm telling you, when you don't have power and then get power back. Yeah, that's like the ultimate form of like power because like to not have it when you have to work or something.
I gave up yesterday on getting anything done at all because I have no service.
What are you going to do?
And then with no power, I also, so now my phone doesn't work at all because no service, no Wi-Fi.
You can't charge it.
I'm basically
library. Yeah.
I'm basically off the grid yesterday. So I had just been laying in bed reading a book.
Did it kind of feel good though?
It did. I kind of felt like a forced relaxation, but
forced rest.
It was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The power had been off since 8. I was laying in bed reading a book, like I was, Little House on the Prairie, and I heard the garbage disposal switch on, and I was like, "Hallelujah!"
Power!
And I ran into the kitchen. I was like, "Power!" And it's just me and the dogs, and they were like, "Lady,
what is wrong with you?" It made me realize like how incapable of being off the grid I am. When they took it away from me, because here's the thing is I don't feel like it matters knowing or not knowing, but I didn't know power was going to be gone until I was doing my walk to school with my oldest and the parents were talking about it. They knew, I didn't know. And I was like, I work from home. What do you mean no power? So I couldn't go visit like the tide pools or something on purpose or go visit someone because I didn't know it was coming. It was a work day for me. So yeah, power is really necessary.
Well, and here's the thing, the home that we're in now is a smart home. So everything is run on a digital system. So if no one had told me that the power was going to be out, thankfully somebody told me, our concierge told me the power was out, but I had to go at 7 a.m, go upstairs, open the garage door, open all the automatic,
manually get everything ready.
Yeah, our locks
down.
Yeah, our locks are magnetic. So when the door closes, it automatically electronically locks. We have no keys. This house has no keys. So I had to prop open every door in the house and then just hope and pray the dogs didn't run away because there were people working.
Oh, what a day.
If I hadn't done that, my husband and I would have been trapped in our house. No way to get in or out. No way to get the cars out. No, we would have tested our relationship for reals.
I mean, like in any other scenario, that would have been whatever. It's fine. It's a day. But I mean, in a real situation, what if there was an emergency and you couldn't get out? Like, that's a really scary thing. Okay.
Here's
you can't just be locked
like,
in your house.
I can have a lazy day and lay in bed and watch movies and be perfectly happy. But if someone was to walk in the room and say, you can't get out of this bed, I'd go nuts. Like
the thought that you couldn't leave would like eat away at you.
We could have climbed the little gate and that we had for the dog and gotten out, but like we wouldn't have had our cars. You would have taken a walk around the block and then climbed on his back to lift each other up again. Yeah. And I'm so glad that we live right on the beach because yesterday was hot. It was like 81 degrees, I guess.
No air.
And there was, obviously we would have no air, but everyone was telling me, oh, it's such a hot day for January. And I was like, yeah,
it really was. I live in Irvine, which is similar climate to where I feel you are. And I'm not on the beach, but it was 81 exactly at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but not like with moving air. It was like hot air. It just felt really hot yesterday.
Yeah, it was humid a little bit too. So I had propped all the doors.
but it was hot.
Yeah, I propped all the doors open so that we had airflow. But the beach in front of our house was, and it's a private beach just for the residents of this neighborhood, was packed. I've never seen it that full, even in summertime. So
Wow. Okay.
I think everybody had no power and nothing else to do. So everyone
what are
was
you
out.
gonna do?
People were paddleboarding and swimming and skimboarding. And I mean, oh my gosh, it was like 4th of July out there yesterday.
Yeah,
So,
but you really can't do much without power
No.
nowadays.
well, I think hopefully we've helped some people. One big thing I want to say is if you have been a victim of any of these scams, again, don't be embarrassed.
Yeah.
You have to report it, because this is the only way they're going to catch these people. If they don't know what's happening and what the person is saying and what phone number they used, you're just making it harder for them to put these people out of business. So please report it, even, anonymously to one of like the FTC website or Better Business Bureau website, because someone could get scammed a lot worse than you did. And we all need to look out for each other. So please report this. Don't be embarrassed about it. We're talking about it today because it is such a common thing. I mean, we went over some of the numbers
are crazy. And don't be so quick to give out your personal information. Your personal information is like called that for a reason. It's so personal. We've gone over the scenarios where someone could ask, and in no means should you give that information at all ever so freely. So like if we were more helpful towards each other and then reported it, and also less quickly to like, even if you hear something as bizarre as there's a warrant out for your arrest, like don't be so quick to do what they're telling you to do. It's okay to like Google it. It's okay to research it for a minute or two. No, there's nothing out there that's going to need this information where you can't take the time to research it and protect yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just being aware is the number one thing. And if it does happen, reporting it. Just the same advice we give to our kids: don't tell people where you live. Don't give people your personal information on the internet or to people you just don't know. And we got to carry that all the way through. We've all gotten really comfortable online, and also, being more casual with people we don't really know. We let people come to our homes to deliver food and groceries.
Think that the people have good intent. Most people have good intentions. We still do, even in this crazy world. We still like to think the best in people, especially if you don't know any better one way or another.
And I don't want us to lose that collectively, because that is important, but just be aware at the same time. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hopefully this helps someone. If we even kept one person from getting scammed, I feel good.
I learned a little bit for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. If this has happened to you and it's something you want to talk about, please feel free to go over to our Facebook discussion group. We love to see you guys on there interacting and commenting, and read the article. She gives a lot of other great tips and stories and statistics about this. That'll be coming out this week as well. And just thank you guys again for coming back week after week and being on this journey with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to bookmark our site, she'safullonmonet.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're enjoying this podcast, it helps us a lot if you can follow, rate, and review. See y'all next week.